Welcome to the Telabs Optical LAN Advanced Procedures video using PAE and MAB with PON Protection. The purpose of this video is to define how to set up Telabs Optical LAN to use NAC in conjunction with Radius Authentication and 802.1x to define the services or policy on a user port. Specifically, this video will outline the use of PAE and MAB with the PON Protection Group solution. The topics covered in this video will be an overview of the PON Protection Group application and the process to configure PPG when PAE and MAB are involved. Telabs supports the G.984.1 Type B PON protection on all OLTs and ONTs. This allows the user to fully protect the PON side of the network in a cost-effective manner. Type B protection makes use of a splitter that allows for two inputs from two separate PON ports. This gives both equipment and facility protection for the OLT side of the PON. When protection interfaces are on two ports on different OLTs, this provides full equipment and facility redundancy to the splitter. If ports have been authenticated via 802.1x, rather than force the supplicant to re-authenticate when the PON protection switch occurs, the status can be shared with the protection PON. To do so, Telabs has implemented a status update protocol between the primary and the secondary PON. The status information is sent every few seconds to enable rapid protection switches. Without this process in place, 802.1x and MAB can lengthen the time needed to sync the primary and the secondary configurations, as there is a good deal of status information that needs to be exchanged. For this authentication sync to take place, a PON sync channel VLAN needs to be established between the paired OLTs. In addition, at least one ONT on each primary OLT PON card must have a default service profile assignment to the sync channel VLAN. This ensures that the sync channel VLAN stays active in the PON card. First, you'll need to create a sync channel VLAN in the switching application. This VLAN will need to be created on both the primary and the secondary OLTs. Set the VLAN to fully bridged. Once created, add the VLAN to the proper uplink on both OLTs. Create an ACL for the sync channel. This should be a basic ACL that allows any MACs. This ACL will be assigned to the service profile dedicated to the sync channel VLAN. Next, create a service profile for the sync channel VLAN. Assign the proper VLAN for the sync channel to the 802.1q VLAN field of the service profile. Make sure the sync channel any MAC ACL is selected in the ACL profile field of the service profile. Create a NAC profile to place the sync channel service profile into. It should include the service profile that was created for the sync channel VLAN. Ensure the Enable MAC Bypass and Enable PAE Dynamic Service are not enabled. Add an ONT onto the primary PON of the protection group. The ONT does not have to be present. A dummy ONT can be created to carry the sync channel if one does not exist on the PON within the correct configuration. Only one sync VLAN is needed per PON card. Assign the NAC profile with the sync channel VLAN onto one or more ports of the new ONT. Finally, the VLAN of the sync channel can be configured in the Protection Group dialog. When the parameters for the protection group are saved, the system will check to make sure that the sync channel VLANs are provisioned correctly on both ONTs. This concludes this video. In it, we have discussed an overview of the PON Protection Group application and the process to configure PPG when PAE and MAB are involved.